Can swath grazing reduce your winter feed costs? Feed costs represent the largest portion of production costs for beef cattle operations. More than half of the feed-related costs in a cow-calf operation are for maintenance of the cow herd. This means we are feeding cows 200 days a year just to maintain body condition. Only during pre-breeding, late gestation and lactation are we concerned about feeding for performance. Winter feed and bedding makes up half the feed costs, while the other half are related to pasture costs. Increased competition for agriculture land plus variable weather, including drought, puts pressure on pasture and forage supplies. Swath grazing can contribute to over a 40% cost savings on your cow feeding bill. Extending the grazing season for a cow herd means reduced hours on equipment, reduced fuel consumption, reduced labor and manure handling, lower yardage and feed costs, plus reduced feed waste. Know when winter swath grazing won't work. Caution when swath grazing calves, young cows and thin cattle, especially first and second calf heifers. These animals are still growing and require more nutrition and care. When snowpack is too light, cattle will need a water source. When snowpack is too deep and crusted over, cattle will need help to get to the swaths, or supplemental feed may be needed. When excessively windy or cold, cattle will need supplemental feed and/or shelter. Wildlife can be a big problem in certain areas. Know how, where, and when you can control them. Don't ignore economics. When feed is abundant and price is low, land designated for swath grazing may have an improved opportunity cost if used for a different crop. Winter grazing of annual forages requires a mineral supplement to avoid issues with tetany. Provide a calcium and magnesium mineral blend with your salt source to counteract the typical high potassium levels found in annual forages. Successful swath grazing means you limit feed the cattle by allowing access to only parts of the field at one time. High tensile electric fencing works well. Extending the grazing season with swath grazing is an economical answer to high winter feed costs. Typical winter cow rations can cost between $1.25 to $2 per cow per day, while swath grazing can reduce that to $1 to $1.50 per cow per day, while at the same time providing environmental benefits such as increased plant residue and manure management.